want them to do it? Because they have fire in their eye. They are going to take it to the finish line. And everybody sitting in this room has an idea. When our good doctor came out of Cal, we all had to go to work for big corporations. Entrepreneurship, when you said it, they thought you were absolutely crazy. You had something in your tea that couldn't possibly be that you wanted to start your own business. Everyone had to go work for the big Fortune 500s and become a cog in the wheel. As I said, I had to do my 2 years in accounting. They didn't know what to do with me. They kind of put me back there, and they walked by and looked at me to see, ooh, there's a woman here we have to hire her, so what are we going to do with her? And what really killed them, gals, is when I came in and one day and I was pregnant. Now, the senior partner looked at me like I was nuts. Now, he was a father of 8 children, all right? But if anyone can do it, you can do it. When you walk around this campus and you see the names on the schools and the names on the buildings, prime example, the Haas Business School. When it was starting, I was asked if I would help raise funds for it. Rick Kronk took over Dreyer's Ice Cream when it was nothing and turned it into something with Gary Rogers. Don Fisher, when he started, he was next door to my uncle in San Francisco, and he took an old broken down building, and it was the first brick building, and he had tenants in it that worked. He decided he was going to do something new with Levi's. That's the Gap. That's the Gap. That's Levi's, okay? That's where it started. And you can do the exact same thing. Are you going to hit obstacles? Absolutely. Are you going to run out of money? Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I was running out of money in a couple of my entrepreneurship jobs, businesses. Prime example, the Iron Curtain. You remember this. Thank goodness you're here, because you can remember a lot of the history. And you weren't even born, half of this whole room. All of a sudden, the Iron Curtain was going down. Ronald Reagan was president. And I had parking in San Francisco, and everyone comes in the middle, in the morning and then leaves in the afternoon. So during the middle of the day, you have something to do, right? So I thought, I've got the best idea ever. When you looked at the pictures in Russia, and you looked at everything, you saw snow, you saw gray, you saw black, you saw dirty brown boots. Ha-ha, I came up with the best idea ever, ladies, the best. Red Mary Janes. I decided I was going to import into Russia Red Mary Janes. And I thought I had my idea pretty well down pat. I ordered $30,000 worth of Red Mary Janes, sent them into Russia. I had the distribution center set up. I had people on my team that came out of Macy's, the whole 9 yards, except I failed to do one thing. Forgot to get the check from the Russian government. To this day, I'm still waiting for it. They want to pay me in rubles. You can't even use rubles in a Coke machine out there. So, even if your best idea fails, there's nothing wrong with failure. Pick yourself up, dust your knee off, and try it again. Now, your family might talk about you at Thanksgiving or a high holiday, but you know what? Next year they'll be talking about your Aunt Thelma. You'll be yesterday's news. There's nothing wrong with failure. There's a group of venture capitalists that I belong to over in Silicon Valley, and we now have a meeting for all of us that have failed at least one business. And we laugh at what we've done, the mistakes we've made. When we thought we had the grand slam. But did that teach me something? Absolutely. Because when I went in to start my coffee company in Romania, I had collected the money up front before I turned it over to the government there. I learned. I learned to get your money up front. I'm all about entrepreneurship. I'm all about giving people a chance and opportunity to start their business, take their business to the next level, and it's my own money that I loan out. 5 of us entrepreneurs that didn't start with a nickel to get on a bus. And we all made it in different facets of America. And you can do the exact same thing. It's a true honor and a true privilege to be back here on the University of California, Berkeley campus, when in 1894, my great-grandfather graduated from here. It's come a long way. We've seen a lot of Nobel Prize winners. We've seen a lot of wonderful entrepreneurs and highly successful people come out of here. And everyone sitting in this audience can do the exact same thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Sue. That is a truly inspiring and passionate speech. I already feel the strong sense of enterprising atmosphere in the room now. So I believe most of you already can't wait to know more about our startup competition made for China, right? Okay, so without further ado, let's invite Harry Ning, General Manager at eFactor. Harry graduated this year with a BA Interdisciplinary Studies Entrepreneurship in China at UC Berkeley and was a former Vice President at BCSSA. So now let's welcome Harry on stage. Harry, please.
Can I not follow you? It's impossible to follow your speech. I can't match the energy. Next slide. So, my name is Henry, and my Chinese name is Ning Hu. I can see a lot of my old friends here, but for the people who don't know me yet, I grew up in China, Guilin to be exact, and I came to the United States when I was 16 for high school. And then I applied for Berkeley, and I graduated a few months ago. And I'm not an engineer, I'm not a business student. My most notable skill is my writing. I don't consider myself a great writer, but somehow a lot of people like my writing, so that's my most notable skill. And I was also the former editor for 3 very liberal magazines. 2 of them died, they were shut down by the government because we criticized Big Brother. And one of them barely survived, still running, but it's blacklisted. They get harassed by the police, 喝茶. Anyway, so I finally realized only entrepreneurs can change the world, and that realization came in April 2010. Next slide. That was the event that changed my life. Real Life Impact Social Entrepreneurs Gala, and Dr. Xu Daling was also there, giving a very inspiring speech. I still remember the topic, globalization of love, and that really inspired me. And I was also very privileged to give a speech then, talking about my homeless life, talking about the magazines I created. And in the end, I wanted to be an entrepreneur that serves all entrepreneurs, to help entrepreneurs to succeed. That was the event, very important to me. And go back to the previous slide. So right now I'm working for eFactor and Sangyo Angels, and I'm also shooting a documentary on Berkeley street spirits. So next slide after next. Okay, so what's eFactor? eFactor is a startup that serves all startups. We're a startup with a very few people in it right now, 15 to be exact. And we are a social network for entrepreneurs with close to 1 million members. We provide opportunities for networking, mentoring, financing, and cost saving for entrepreneurs. And our headquarters is in downtown San Francisco. It's on Market Street. It's right on top of Gap Store, right off the Power Bar station. And our founder and CEO, Audrey Reinders, he's not only a serial entrepreneur from Netherlands, he's also an author. He wrote a book about networking called N Factor. And right now he's writing another book called E Factor. And he's also a certified pilot. I also want to be a pilot. I want to fly a plane. And he already got the license. And he's also a judo black belt. He's a really cool man. He's like an inspirational father figure to me who has taught me a lot of things about entrepreneurship. And my role in the company is to help entrepreneurs around the globe to enter China and provide the Chinese entrepreneurs with the resources of the world through eFactor. And at the core of the initial operations is the Made for China startup competition. So next slide. So Sangyo Angels, the reason I'm talking about Sangyo Angels is that it's also playing a very important role as far as this competition is concerned, because many of the judges will be coming from Sangyo Angels. Sangyo Angels is a group of successful Silicon Valley technology professionals dedicated to funding the formation and growth of the startup company. We look at around 30 startups every month, and we choose the top 6 for our screening meeting, which took place last Thursday, and both Shane and David were also present at the screening meeting. And next week we will have a dinner meeting, which we select the 3 out of the 6 companies at the screening meeting, and then we decide who we want to invest. We usually invest one company or not at all. So my role in Sanyo Angels is a part-time role, and I do screening, due diligence, and chores, mostly chores. So next slide. So back to the competition. It's a student-oriented business plan competition that helps startups interested in going to China with networking, mentoring, and financing. And so this used to be a campaign platform for my campaign for VP of BCSSA. I came up with the idea in July 2010, and I became the vice president of BCSSA from the school year 2010 to 2011, and we did it. We made the first Made for China startup competition a reality. And for the first time, it was a great success. And 3 companies that came out of the competition, the winners, they're doing very well right now. And Shane was presenting at our screening meeting. And this time, eFactor is taking the competition to the next level. We're expanding beyond Berkeley. We're going to include Western United States, Eastern United States, Northern China, Southern China, to around 10 to 15 universities. And also Sanyo Angels is also playing a very important supportive role, as I just said. Next slide, please. So that was the photo for the first Made for China competition. Next slide. So there is really no better time and place to be an entrepreneur than now in China. It has the market. It is the second largest world economy with 1.3 billion consumers and over 400 million internet users. It has the capital. Last year, 476 companies went public in China, compared to 154 in the US. Also in 2010, $11 billion of venture capital was raised in China, which is expected to surpass the American level this year. It also has the talent. Research shows that there is a surplus of 10 million university students in the job market as the intermediary between labor and capital to capture the market demand, which is another definition for entrepreneurs. Many entrepreneurs in China enjoy a wild success with that exponential growth. Next slide, please. So these are our local partners. For the publicity of the competition, we have established close connections with all of them. And our participants will come from these universities. For those of you who want to compete, your competitors will come from these universities. Next slide. And we also have 4 regional partners. These 4 student organizations have shown great interest to help and agreed to host our regional final. And special thanks to BCSSA for doing a wonderful job at event planning and event hosting. Thank you. Next slide. So now we have secured 2 financial sponsors. One is Capgemini. They are willing to provide 50,000 euros for our operational costs. And also Yangzhou government is willing to provide 1 million Chinese yuan for the prize money. And also we have a technology sponsor, Cisco, who is willing to provide the telepresence technology to enable people from Boston, San Francisco, Shanghai, and Beijing to connect all together. Next slide, please. Oh, these are the important dates. Our first round is the deadline for executive summaries is due on November 1st. That's the first round. And also we have 4 dates for the regional finals in San Francisco, Boston, Beijing, and Shanghai. And also our global final being in Yangzhou in next March. Next slide. So this is the breakdown of prize money. First place, global winner will get 500,000 yuan. Second place, 200,000 yuan. Third place, 100,000 yuan. And on top of that, if you win at the regional level, you get 30,000 for being in the first place. You get 20,000 for being in second place. Next slide. So eligibility. As long as one of the team members in your team is a student, we'll accept that. It used to be, there has to be business students, but we want to be more inclusive. We will be rather willing to do a lot of work at the pre-selection period than excluding a lot of students. So as long as one of the team members is a student, we're willing to accept that. However, you cannot be Google and enter our competition. There's a limit to how much money you have raised so far. If you have raised $5 million, I don't think it's fair to compete with the people who only have an idea. So the upper bound is $100,000 for money raised from venture capital firm and $250 total. And we recommend you fulfill a market demand in China, but it is not a requirement at the first round. But it has to be a requirement at the regional final and also the global final, of course. Next. So, judging criteria. It's very hard to understand all those. Let me just give an example. One of my freshman friends, Jason, wants to be an entrepreneur. He asked me what kind of business he should start. I said, start something that you're passionate about. So passionate that you can give up your dating life for it. And he